Hey guys, welcome back to the Geography Academy. Remember, this video is just a small part of a much larger course that's available below if you just follow the links and instructions. Okay, part 4, last section on contemporary urban environments, continuation on from contemporary issues with sustainable development. We've talked about a few sections now with including Mumbai and London mainly. So we're talking about waste disposal first and industrial commercial waste. 50% of the city's total waste comes from that. So different ways of dealing with this in London. It's 3.7 million tons of household waste, about 550 kg per year. We see the personal consumption being driven by consumer-driven lifestyles. So this is something we would associate with HICs over maybe more of an LIC then situation, where you have higher consumption per person. We see that 45% of household waste is being recycled, which is very high on a kind of global average. Other ways of dealing with this is to have waste separation and facilities there for plastics, paper, glass, metals. This is at a domestic level, so this means that people can do this in their own homes, but also in the landfill areas, like the waste areas. They're going to have then areas to dispose of this and to separate lots of different products as well. So anaerobic digestion plants for organic waste allows for then biogas and compost to be created through digestion and decomposition of the organic waste. Incineration then, or burning of the waste, can cause then heat, which generates electricity. So this is a way of producing energy through waste disposal. So this is reducing the landfill sites as well. However, it does cause air pollution then on top of that. The concept here for the use then is bio waste from household, organic waste going in from agriculture, houses, poultry, horse, cattle, and anything else is put into this system. And we get electricity then as it's able to produce quite a lot of heat, electricity, and then we also can compress it into biofuel, which can be put into certain types of transportation. And this creates then potentially fertilizers then with the waste as well to go back into the agricultural production. So this is a really good way of then producing less waste or reusing your waste and using it completely, right? So organic waste doesn't just decompose in landfills then. London then has a waste to energy. That's the idea, is the main plan there. So 50,000 homes then is provide electricity through waste production. So the concept of maybe reuse is working there and recycling, but well, definitely reusing. But the idea then is not to reduce the consumption levels where the problem often is. So that's still just providing a solution to the problem, but it's not actually reducing the problem itself. London reuses then a lot of, or uses landfills then, about 5% of the waste being sent to these sites because they fill up quite quickly and they run out of quite a lot of space. Other recyclable waste then might be sent to different areas like e-waste from electronic products to places like Turkey, Malaysia, Philippines. China, for example, stopped taking in quite a lot of that recently. On the other side, then we see Mumbai has a more informal sector, so waste recycling isn't something that's done as directly through an organized system. It's more done in an informal sector as people tend to go into the landfills and remove recyclable goods and actually sell them off for money then as well. So this is one way that it can cause quite a lot of recycling in the area. They also have a huge amount of industrial and commercial waste because they're a more industrializing process. They're manufacturing more, creating more, building more, and expanding more rapidly. So this provides huge amounts of textile, chemical, and metal processing. Mumbai then 9,000 tons of household waste per day and 230 kg per year. The average then is a lot lower, but the population is very high and there's less facilities able to deal with it. Wealthier residents then have access to formal waste collection services where low-income communities have to rely on informal waste pickers, recycling, and landfills. So 1,000 of waste pickers, as we mentioned there, are going through and recycling lots of different types of materials. And this is the way that the landfills are able to actually continue to take so much of the waste because of this. So this is has the potential to cause fire, releasing toxic gas, and causing air pollution as well. The disposal strategy then moving forward is to continue to use landfills. They're one of the biggest ones there, and because it's cheap and it can solve the problem quickly, and there is a lot of waste pickers in this industry as well. So lots of waste pickers means that a large amount becomes recycled in the region. They're not able to afford certain amounts of incineration types or looking at the anaerobic digestion there as well. So, London, so far we've talked about loads of different sections of urban contemporary issues. We've looked at heat island, waste disposal, urban drainage, and we're going to look at social segregation, transport, and some part of dereliction. So, this should cover most all the topics on the course and help you maybe integrate into other sections of the course as well. So, let's have a look through a few of them. Social segregation, then, we talked about inequality, income inequality in regions, and we know that this is continued on in London. So we have affluent areas in central regions like Westminster and Kensington, and then lower income living in the outer boroughs. There is then huge spatial inequality, as we can see housing estates in areas like Barking being then densely populated. Immigrant communities then end up creating these enclaves. This is often due, as we mentioned before, to the concept of chain migration, the cultural clustering, then language, religion, all of these things coming into the area and culture creates then a community in these regions. So more migrants are more likely to move there, maybe because of social norms, but also because of things like practices like rental, and also the income of migrants can often be different to the locals as well. So this creates a situation where they might be unable to afford the rent in other regions as well. So for developments in the urban areas, then it's quite important that the solutions are going to look into this. The concept is, if you think about it, if you have people from a lower income background or a certain ethnicity as well, and that's going to create segregation and inequality with the regions. But it also might mean that, like in the future, that the schools and the resources then might match the income levels in the areas. So this just continues a cycle. So they might be at a disadvantage. So to create more equality within it, we'll have things like mixed income housing. So the concept is different size properties and different values on, let's say if it's an apartment block, we'll have different types of apartments in it, and this will allow then for low income families to live close to high income families and reduce the income inequality and segregation due to that. The cultural diversity in London is the most in the world, as we mentioned before. A lot of migration in periods from the Caribbean, South Asia, and Africa at different times, post World War II, especially, with the opening up then of the world in a more globalized society and the freedom to move from their countries. Diverse workforce in universities, then we see international students and skilled workers attracted into the area. In some parts, to look at the cultural diversity challenges, they celebrate different festivals and celebrate the cultural diversity in there. So Diwali, for